Hi everybody, Diana here at Build A Quilt. Welcome. This is my next video on my domestic long arming journey. And I know it's been a few weeks since I put out the last one. I apologize. We're into the holiday season, been super duper busy with, we had Halloween, now we've had Thanksgiving, and getting all the end of the year projects and stuff in order for Build A Quilt and getting in all the information published and all for Quilt Lab 2026. This is our 4th year coming up with Quilt Lab. It's our #1 thing that we do that our subscribers like here at Build A Quilt. And I just put out a video yesterday. I'll link it at the end. You're going to want to watch it. You're going to want to join us for Quilt Lab 2026. We've made it more flexible, great benefits, and I know you're going to want to join us with it if you want to learn how and be a part of 21st century quilting, patchwork in the hoop with your embroidery machine. You're gonna love it. So anyway, I wanted to come to you in this video and show you my frame. It's all set up. I'm so excited. Now, can I give you a warning? If it is 8:30 on Sunday evening and you think, oh hey, you and your husband can just, or you and your bestie or whoever, or you by yourself can just pop this frame together and be in bed by 9 o'clock. In the book, it says 2 people, 2 hours, I think, something like that. They mean it. It's not hard. You just want to read it and you want to make sure you're doing it right. And so we had the frame together pretty quickly. But what caused us a problem was one of the amendments that we added to it. Now, any of the amendments I talk about, you don't have to have, but I will tell you why I chose to use them. So let's start by showing you and telling you where we are. Because I know you're looking at this bar in the back and the stuff above, and you're like, Diana, it looks like you're in a closet. Guess what? I'm in a closet. This is an old walk-in closet. That half all the way over there, that's where I store all my products and things for Build A Quilt and all of my bolts of fabric, all my heritage Tula is over there, all of that stuff. Over here, because it's climate controlled in this closet. Over here, this is now the quilting annex, right? So I had to come up with a fancy little name for it. The quilting annex. And this is where I've got my Cutie Breeze and I'm doing my long arm. Now, you're seeing something here, and that's the door frame. Let's move this over a little bit. You might be able to see the frame and all better. Yeah, so here we are. So you know from my last video, and I'll link my playlist for my domestic long arming journey at the end as well. I'm using a Baby Lock Jazz 2. I got my quilting frame and my Jazz 2 on super smoking good sales, and I otherwise I wouldn't have been able to do it, but got everything like super great pricing. I will say again, the Grace Company, rock. That company is amazing. I love them. No, they're not sponsoring me at all. But I had some difficulty when I was ordering the frame through another retailer. And when I talked to them, well, you'll hear about it in the other videos. It was a nightmare. And they, not only they fixed it, they were professional, they were kind, they have a mission statement. The young woman that helped me, she lived that mission statement. I just can't say enough good stuff about this company. And the other reason I love them, let me grab right here. This is the book that comes with the frame. These are the best written instructions ever. They're really good. In fact, when we get to the part about the Sure Stitch Elite, the stitch regulator, they updated the instructions for this frame since this came out. And so what did they do? They just went and put those instructions in the back of your manual. So they're always right there for you. Now, I will tell you, we used the manual and the instructions for the Sure Stitch because one had better pictures for us. So I love the company. They're super great. Now, I will just tell you that, yeah, 8:30 at night wasn't good. After we got it put together, I had to take the bed off, and I couldn't put the arm on because you have to kind of stand there and be measured. You want this front bar right here to hit right about your belly button. right? So it does for me. It's perfect. And that's on the table. I got a table that will move up and down, and I talk about that in the other video, but it's in the down position, and I probably won't ever need to move it when I'm using this system, because with it down and measuring the bar, it hit me right at the belly button, and I didn't need to do a single thing about it. So that's where it's at. And underneath it is where I got all the Christmas presents hidden. Nobody ever comes in here. They know they're not allowed. So it's a great place to hide Christmas. And probably everybody knows where they are, right? Because you know the place where you're not supposed to go for your Christmas presents, and you go there anyway. Anyway, so let's talk about the frame now that it's together. Really well made, like super solid, guys. I was a little concerned for the price. Am I going to get something that isn't quite as thoughtfully made? Good solid materials? No, it's great. Good metal base here for your machine to sit on. The frame is good, but it's lightweight enough that it's easy to take apart. When you're putting it together, and it tells you to do some measuring to make sure that you're getting your sides and your back at the right height for your machine, you'll have to do a little, just follow the instructions. It's not difficult, and it will turn out. I did, once we got it back here, we finally went to bed that night. It was like midnight. Yeah, it was late. And Dave gets up at 4 to go swimming, and I get up at 4:30 to go out for a 6-mile run. So we were both, you might have to get up early for your kids. Just don't do it on a late Sunday night. It's not worth the hassle. But the next day, I came in and put on the front bar and the back take-up bar, and I did all the measuring. I put on the Sure Stitch regulator by myself. This part of it, we did the encoders together the night before. So I'll tell you about that stuff in a little bit. But you get, with this, you get 2 of these long clamps. They are your front clamps. They just pop on. Now you get 2 of them, but it leaves a good amount of space here in the front. Let me actually move this down. It leaves some space. Let me put the other one on. It's really easy. You just pop them on the bar. But you can see, even if you don't put them all the way to the edge, you still got a good amount of space here. And I find I'm a little concerned about it being a little wobbly there. So I purchased a set of their 3 mini clamps, and you can put those on and help hold everything in place. Or there's something else you could use. I will talk about these in a minute, but it's a magnet, and you could just put your magnet on there, and that would hold that middle place in nice and tight. So you get 3 of these shorter clamps. They're for the back take-up rail, and these gray hoops, I don't know if it's on the right direction or not. No, it's not. But you can see there's a little channel in these back ones, and these have this little piece right here, and you just slide it on, and when your piece is on, you roll your quilt up, and this holds your quilt in place. Okay, super simple to do. So you get 3 of these, and you get 3 of the take-up hoops. Okay, the gray ones. And then you get 2 smaller ones. These go on your side rails. You can see the one down here. Actually, let's move that. Yeah, you can see the one down there. Those are for your sides. If your quilt doesn't go from side to side, you'll need to add a leader cloth. Now, here is the first thing I purchased. Leader cloths, super duper simple to make. Just use some old fabric. But because I've fallen in love with the Grace Company, went and bought their leader cloth set for, let's rearrange it there. I went and bought their leader cloth set for the hoop frames, for their hoop frames. You get 2 side cloths, a front cloth and a back cloth. It comes with the weighted rope in it. I like these because they're marked, so they can give you some visual clues. And to be honest, I didn't want to take the time to make up my own. Sorry, I just didn't. So I got these. I will go over these in more detail in another video when I talk about loading the frame. But that's what I purchased. And if you have the Cutie Breeze frame or any of their other hoop frames, make sure you get the set that is for hoop frames, because there's one for hoop frames and there's one for the kind that you use the manual hand crank and crank your thing up on a take-up bar in the back. It's called a double wheeled frame, I think. But if you have a hoop frame, make sure you get the hoop frame ones. But we'll go over those in another way. I've already showed you it comes with this nice little practice panel. This is the panel. So the panel runs long ways, not up and down. I suppose you could do it up and down if you wanted, but it runs long ways, and I know that because the Grace Company name is there, and it fits along the width of the frame. However, it's super cute, and I am not going to practice on it to start because I think it's too cute, and when I do it, I want to be able to do it well enough that I can go ahead and bind it and say, this was my very first piece that I did after I had practiced enough to think that I was, could actually do something. You do you. Practice on your practice piece. That's why they give them to us. But I kind of love panel quilts like this, so I won't be doing my first practice. What I will be practicing on, though, is I'm making my quilt sandwich, a big enough piece, with a mid-grade muslin. Don't care what color thread you use. It's a good quality fabric, but it's not expensive. They also give you a thing of 3 threads, cones. These cones actually will fit on my Baby Lock Jazz too. I haven't really researched cone thread for it yet, so I'm probably going to be just using large spools of thread. When I do my practicing, I'll talk about that more too when I talk about setting up the machine and all in the next video. But that kit comes with it, so you've got everything you need to start practicing. You would just need to add a backing and a batting to it. Okay, so let's talk about the bar. So we have the handlebars so you can drive it. I like the handlebars. The original Cutie had the handles down here. That was not going to work for me. I was kind of worried about that. But then I noticed, oh, hey, it's been upgraded. You get these over-the-top handles, and I like this far better. I can be more precise for myself. I don't know if it's a lefty thing or not, but I can be. So here they have this bar. Inside this bar is this little plastic piece or rubbery piece. They send you 2. This one holds M bobbins, and the one up here, sorry, I can't get my bangs out of my eyes. I just got my hair cut and she did my bangs different and they're forever in my one eye. This piece up here holds L bobbins. This piece holds M bobbins. So you just pop in whichever one you want. Hold on to your other one. You never know if you're going to get a different machine that takes a different style bobbin. So you'll have it and you can switch it out. So that's up there. But the other thing I like is right in here in these 2 little depressions is a little magnet on each side, and you can put like your pins there. If you're pinning your quilt to a leader cloth, you can put your pins right there and they'll be magnetized on there for you. So that's another reason I'm loving this Grace Company. They are so detail oriented, not just with the directions that were, but also with the frame and every little thing they thought of. Nice cushy handles here, handle pads here, so you're not like gripping down really hard and stuff and doing like repetitive stress on your hands, things like that. And that's great for me because I've already had carpal tunnel surgery twice. So again, just read your instructions. It tells you to have 36 to 41 inches going this way, so I made sure I have plenty of space going forwards and back and side to side. This fits perfectly on my table. Now, when it goes to moving a larger quilt, they tell you you leave one of your clamps on the back rail, and you just move your quilt over this way. They usually show somebody standing off to the side pulling it. I don't have the space to do that, but this is compact enough, everybody, that I'm not going to have a hard time just standing here and doing it, or working on the back just standing in front. So I tried to make sure that that was going to be the case before I ever even purchased it, and it is. So my table, I believe, is 55, 56, 57 inches, and I think this is 54 or 55 inches, the frame. And I still have like about 3 or 4 inches available to each side. So I made sure I had plenty of space when I put this together. And I think I talk about that more in the video where I talk about the table. So that is the Cutie Breeze frame. Now let's talk about a couple of the amendments that I bought that you do not have to, but I'll tell you why I did. And the first one let's talk about are the Cutie Breeze channel locks. When you get channel locks, don't accidentally order the ones that say the Cutie frame, because that's the original, unless you have the original. But if you've bought the Cutie Breeze, make sure that says Cutie Breeze. I was a little nervous about that because I couldn't remember. And so they had already come. They were sitting on a shelf waiting because my frame hadn't come yet. And I was a little concerned. And then I ran over and looked at the box, and it says Breeze. And I thought, oh, good. Now, this comes with 3 channel locks in it. I know. You only need 2, right? Well, it comes with this one that says double wheel channel lock. This one right here. I believe this is for the kind of frames where you roll your quilt up onto a take-up wheel, I think. And so I don't need this one. There may be a day when I do. I get a different frame, different place, whatever. So that one just stays in the box. Now, everything you do when you're doing these setups gets tightened with an Allen wrench. And these are all the ones that come with. I've even got a couple that I haven't opened yet that are duplicate sizes. So I keep all of these in my tray right here that's part of my table. So keep those around, because whenever you need to do an adjustment, you'll need to have a particular size, and they're there. Those are the sizes you need for this table. So you have one take up. Let me move the camera a little bit so you can see. There you go. You can see it right here. There's one on the side, and when it is up, it allows your machine and your frame to move up and down. But you can tell I can't move side to side because I have the one up here that's kind of hard to see. Right there it is, locked. So if you're doing any straight line up and down quilting, you can do that by locking this one that goes horizontally and unlocking this one. And I always lock that one when I leave the space to keep my machine from rolling down and hitting the back. So I keep it right there. Now this front one, if I unlock it, it allows full movement side to side, but you can't move it up and down. Why? You can do horizontal lines. Why did you bother, Diana, getting channel locks? Because I can't draw a straight line to save my life. I mean, I can't do it. I thought about them for a long time. I thought, I'm not going to need them. And because I couldn't think of why I needed them. And then in a video I watched, somebody said, can you draw a straight line, a perfectly straight line? And I thought, oh, heck no, I can't. I don't know if it's a lefty thing, but like learning how to even color in the lines when I was a kid took a lot of concentration. When I was about 4, my Aunt Kay taught me how to do it. She taught me a little trick. And then I was able to do it super easy. But I've never been able to like draw a straight line. If you're a lefty and you have that problem, leave a note in the comments. I'd love to know that I'm not alone. So if the channel locks are going to help me with that, then I thought they weren't expensive for the set. You get all 3 of them, and they weren't expensive at all. They have the instructions that come with them on how to put them on. It wasn't hard. Here's the part, though, that cost us 4 hours of time. I'm not saying it's a problem. I'm saying it was a challenge for us. The way you, once they're on the frame, the way you adjust them so that they don't move is a very fiddly adjustment process. We would get them like almost right, but then I'd go like this and the frame would still move, or I'd go like this, just barely touch it and the frame would still move. So you know it's not right. And so 4 hours after we did it, we finally got them so that they worked properly. if I were giving, I would a 5-star rating for the channel locks, I would give them, I'm not saying 1 or 2, because the problem probably isn't with the product. It was probably with us, except I think they could make the way they're adjusted easier, less fiddly, less small, like put a cap on it so it's something to grab onto or something. So I would give it 4 stars. This is a Grace Company product. The product itself works beautifully, is fine. Putting it on the base of the frame was not difficult. We just had that problem getting them to adjust properly. So if there's anything, Grace Company, you know I love you. If there's anything you can do to make that process a little easier, simpler, I'm right there with you, right? Okay, that was the only thing we had a problem with, but it did cost us 4 hours, and that's because it was a Sunday night when we were doing it. We were both tired. We both got a little cranky. We both had to walk away a couple times, I'll be honest. But once I got them on, it works beautifully now. Now, if I undo both of them, if I undo the side and the front, then I'm completely free motion, however I want to do it. So if I need to do like really tiny little things, free motion, great. But you're going to use these to lock your machine in place and either go straight lines this way or straight lines horizontally. Okay, that's what those are for. And because I can't draw a straight line, that's why I got them. All right, now the other amendment that we got was the Sure Stitch regulator. There is a little box back here that velcros to your machine. I put mine on the left-hand side because I'm a lefty, and it worked out best for me because that's where my attachment point in the back of the machine is. So let me just say, the Sure Stitch Elite is a little bit of a considered purchase. I did get mine on sale, but it was still a considered purchase. It's not inexpensive, but it's a pretty amazing little, it's small, but it's mighty in that way. It's a pretty amazing tool. You purchase this from the Grace Company. I mean, your local shop that carries these things can purchase from them, but it's a Grace Company product. Beautiful. So you have to put on a couple of encoders. I think one is at the way back and one is here on the side. I can't show it to you. I apologize. But it wasn't difficult at all. And in the box, I don't have the box sitting here anymore. This is big box, and it comes with all these little attachment things. You're only going to need one of them, whichever one goes to your machine, either your domestic or your Longarm. I am going to link a video below. I cannot remember the gentleman's name, but he had a video showing how to put those encoders on and set that up that I had watched prior to doing it myself, like a few days prior. And then I had my husband sit down and watch it as well. We got all of the Sure Stitch encoders on like no time flat. It was super easy, and the instructions are great. They have them in the back of your manual. Their instructions come with it, but they updated them somehow for the Cutie Breeze, and so they went ahead and put that information in the back of your frame manual as well. So we kind of used both set of instructions. We saw pictures that we liked on one a little bit better from the other, but we used these instructions on how to put them on the machine. But I will also link that video because the gentleman that did it, I've watched a few of his videos. He's great, and I am so sorry. I am so sad that I can't remember his name. But, sir, gentlemen, if you ever see this, your video was fantastic. I loved it. I give you a thumbs up. And so what those encoders do is they tell the regulator how fast am I moving. That tells it how fast or slow to make and big to make your stitches. So this is how you set it up. It's a little touch screen. Now nobody knows, very few people know, that I have a really hard time with my fingers and touch screens. My phone and all that has a touch screen, I have to use a stylus. I worked in dentistry for many years, putting myself through my graduate programs and my PhD, and I have no texture left on my fingers. You can see my faint little fingerprints, but they're so smooth that they won't engage with a touch screen without a stylus. I was a little worried about this, but if I put a little, there are little plastic finger cots that are like, you can put over like your finger, if you cut your finger and you can't get a Band-Aid on it, you can put like a piece of gauze there and then put this little rubber finger cot over it. If I use one of those on either my index finger or my thumb, I can easily make this work with no problem. And I just have to do that because I know my fingers won't, screens won't read my fingers. So if you have that problem, that's how I make that work, is by using a finger cot. And I just keep some of them down here in the desk drawer. So this went really easy. Some people said to clamp your cord on, but that video I watched, I'm pretty sure he wrapped it around. It worked really easy. It plugs into the back of your machine where your foot pedal would plug in. And so all of that for this machine is on this side, which worked out great for me to have this on my left side. I could have, there's plenty of cable. I could have brought it around and brought it up here, but then you have to work and make sure your cables aren't going to get caught up in the back and stuff like that. So it worked out really well for me to do it right here. You don't have to use this, so you can have it in non-regulated mode or regulated mode. We'll talk about that more too in a future video. But this, it clamps on here and tightens onto the handlebar. Like I said, it was a considered purchase, but because I'm concerned, I want to learn how to do it on my own with no regulation. I want to get better at that. But I'll be honest, sometimes I come in here to quilt at night after everybody's in bed and I have time to myself. But when I'm tired like that, I'm not really very accurate with my quilting if I'm doing it late at night. But I figure with a stitch regulator, it will help me get better at accuracy, and I can use it as a little bit of a helper if I'm doing it late at night. Now, I want to say this about quilting, and I'll talk about this in another video when we actually do some quilting. I am always of the opinion, unless you're going to quilt on your embroidery machine, and even then sometimes, I go in and I do a little practice before I start. Like knitting or crocheting. When I knit socks, I don't just sit down with my socks and start going if I haven't done it for a while. I sit down and do a little practice. Make sure my stitches are still at the right gauge and things like that. Same way with quilting. I don't just sit down and start going to town on my quilt. I do a little practice, get into the groove of my arms moving, that muscle memory and that type of thing. Your accuracy will get much better if you give yourself that grace and do that practice, okay? That's my hint for you. So that is everything machine-wise set up. Now, I do, the one other thing I will tell you is I do have this Westerly table made for the Jazz 2. I went ahead and got it because I want to do ruler work. I've had my Westerly foot and my Sew Steady rulers and things like that for years, because I've done some ruler work on my domestic sewing machine, and I even have a package. These are all the ones that go from Brother, specifically all the quilting feet. It even has an echo foot in it. This whole set was not expensive. If you have a Jazz 2, it even has the ruler foot in here. So this package will give you a bunch of stuff, hopping feet and everything in here. But if you've got all that you want and you just need the ruler foot, I got mine from Westerly. Got it a long time ago. I took a class and you got the foot and two little beginning rulers for the class and in the package deal. So I've had that for a while. There's another product from them that I've had for a while, but I highly recommend it. I use it a lot just in my sewing. They gave us a blue one back then, but this helps you figure out how far away you are from things or how far away you want to be from things. So measure your spacing. You can order the clear one, I think, on their website. I don't know if they have the plastic blue one anymore, but if you want a color one and they do, go for it. All right. So when I put my Jazz machine on here and my Sew Steady, I was a little concerned because, one, this machine will not allow you to use the clamps that come with the frame to hold it onto the base. You put these into a little track You put these into a little track, you snap that down, and this holds against your machine. So like in the back 2 of them and in the front 2 of them. The Baby Lock Jazz 2 is too wide to use them. I've seen a couple of videos with people using them and talking about them. I don't know how they got theirs on because these don't fit on this frame, and I was a little concerned about that. I saved these. I might need them someday for a different machine, so of course you keep them. But I called Grace Company and talked to them about that. I said, listen, I can't get these on with my machine. And they said, those are there for you to use if you want to. And I said, well, I'm telling you, this machine ain't like, I'm literally moving this, guys. That machine's not going anywhere. The Jazz 2 is a very heavy machine. And they said, we wouldn't worry about it at all. And I don't. So just want to tell you, if your machine is too big or it's too heavy or a little bit so that you can't get them in the track and they won't fit on, you don't absolutely have to have them on, per the Grace Company. Now, when I went and got my Sew Steady, I would give this product 4 out of 5 stars. It's a great product. It gives you 13 inches of ruler space. Now, this Jazz comes with this table, which gave you, I think, 9.5. If this is all you have and you want to do a little ruler work, this is wide enough, okay? But I went ahead and got the Sew Steady because I know I have some really longer rulers and things, and I thought it would just be best to have it on here. They have 4 little suction cups under here that attach with Velcro to the arm of your machine, and then they stick up and suction to the bottom of the table. I'm a little concerned about if I were ever to take this off, I'd have to try to peel those 4 pieces of Velcro off, because the table that comes with it that would slide over the free arm won't go on with that Velcro there. So I'm kind of stuck at that space, but that's how that works. The other thing is I have this adjusted, and in the back it doesn't fit around the machine quite perfectly. There's like it's like an eighth of an inch too high, but if I lower it to make that go lower, then up here in the front there is a bigger dip. So I know they make these specifically for the machine you have, and they made this for the Jazz too. I think that maybe I had too high of an expectation about what this table, how this table fits. I've seen them in other videos and things, and they always look like they're so smooth and fit perfect and tight and all that. That's just not the case with this one. And I've adjusted and readjusted and all, and it's smooth enough for me to do my ruler work, but it's not perfectly even. It just isn't, and I don't know how to fix that. But this could be part of the problem. The foot here and here are exactly lined up, and they fit just onto the bed of the machine. This foot and this foot are not lined up, and I know that had to be a mistake in the manufacturer, because this foot and this foot are lined up, but this back foot is set over about 1/4 to 1/2 an inch. And so this back leg is off of the base of the machine by a good 1/4 of an inch. I didn't call the company because it's on there and it fits and it will work. But, and like if I took this off and held it up, you could see that they're not lined up. I couldn't figure out what was going on. I kept thinking I wasn't putting it on correctly. But when I got looking at it and noticed, wait, I noticed this isn't lined up. But the majority of the foot is on the base, so I'm not going to worry about it. If I have problems, I'll call the company and ask them some more. But I think that is the best that I can do with it. But I do like the table. I think maybe I just had high expectations. But I would give it 4 out of 5 stars, because you really should be, a little more attention to detail on something like that. But I think it's fine, and I love the fact that it gives me that nice 13-inch surface. let's see, is there anything else I need to tell you about? Oh, also, when you are putting your machine on, there is a step that you do, whether you have these channel locks or not. There are two little tabs. One goes on this side in the front, one goes on that side in the back. And what they do is it tells you to measure and put that tab so that when you go back, this bar will not come close to hitting your foot. You don't want that bar hitting your foot. That's going to cause you to break needles and all kinds of craziness. So that is why, so you put the tab in the back, it says, on the back side for that. And then the one up here, and it's just a rubber tab that fits along the track. You bring it back and you stop it right before it hits the back of your machine, because you don't want the bar running into the back of your machine. And that's where you put the tab here. And so now you know when you're quilting, you're not going to hit the back of your machine and you're not going to hit the front foot of your machine. That was important to know. If I hadn't been reading, I would have missed that part, and that could have caused problems. So make sure to do that. Let's go ahead and lock that down. And I think, oh, the other thing you have to measure is your bar, your back bar. This bar needs to be so that you can put your hand under it, but there's no space. Like your hand needs to be able to touch the top and the bottom, your fingers, and that mine does. So I know it's in the right height. Once that's there, then you start adjusting your other heights and stuff. Like I said, folks, just walk through your instructions, page by page, step by step. You won't miss that stuff and you'll be fine. Alrighty, everybody. Oh, the last thing I will tell you about is, no, I'll wait to talk about the magnets when we do the loading video, because I've already given you enough and we're at 37 minutes on this video. If you have any questions, drop me a comment. I know some of you are on this journey with me. Congratulations. I hope you're doing great. I hope everything's going well for you. If you've got questions, let me know. I'll try to answer them. The next video I will do will be on the machine setup and loading a quilt, and hopefully it won't be weeks and weeks before I do that one. Hopefully it'll just be maybe in a week or so before Christmas. I'll get another one out on this. All right. Please check out the Quilt Lab video at the end. You don't want to miss out on being a part of Quilt Lab in the coming year, because it's going to be a lot of fun, and we'd love to have you help join us. So until next time, everybody, you know what I always say, quilters are artists, and as artists, we make the world a more beautiful place. So go quilt life beautiful. Bye for now, everybody.